There we go. Can you hear me now? Wow, I'm an idiot. Thank you for checking. Awesome. Cool. Well, I just wasted that time. Fantastic. Where you couldn't hear me. This is why it's good to have someone in chat. Thank you, Bearded Cat. Okay. Wow. The simplest of joys. This is why I need to get better at this. Okay. Anyway, a quick rundown so you couldn't hear anything. Ducks seem fun for aggro. Goofy's a good idea, but healing has just never really been a consistent avenue in Lorcana outside Rapunzel because she draws cards. Madrigal is the song. I want to build this deck because at least it seems like there's a lot of potential for there, even if there's a lot of two moving parts. Ludwig is exactly what you need to do for a, what's it called? Duel Links. This is the right way to do Duel Links. It's two strong cards combined into one. Blank. Cool effect, but Singer deck already uses too many uninkables. Fun for Singers. Already talked about this is broken. Bodyguard. Healing. Nice shift target. Helps against steel, not against red. Wish this wasn't a 1-drop. Seems very good in aggro since you can give any character +2. And this is blank, but if its effect goes into play, it's nice having a 5/6 quest for 3. And love the Bodyguard theme, but I think it's just too unreliable and too finicky to make work. All right, now we're caught up. Thank you. And cool, now I have to edit the video because I just wasted my entire... Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Man. Well, it's always something, right? It's always something with these when you're doing a tech review. Or it's always something when you're trying to live... Oh, every time you think, oh, well, I've got everything accounted for. Nope, my damn microphone wasn't even on. Awesome. Okay, that's fixed now. Sorry about that. I'm a gooner. And moving on. Okay, what is next? Pua, Bodyguard. That's pretty nice, actually. He's a bit costly. Like, a Simba has better stats at a 2 cost, but he doesn't replace himself. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. For the I don't know if that's better than Donald. You may prefer the lore, but usually what that deck struggles with is card draw, so maybe Pua is better than the Donald. Maybe you'd rather have the card than the lore. I kind of touched on all the Madrigals. Ka actually seems pretty fun. I like that he can weaken something and give it reckless, so he can't even return an attack. It's a little unfortunate it has to wait till, like, especially because it has to wait till quest. This didn't need to be uninkable, and you'll hear me say that about a lot of cards. This didn't need to be uninkable. Tramp is great in Turn of Dogs, especially if you can shift it onto the other Tramp, like, holy moly. A 2/8, I mean, yeah, Ruby can deal with it, but Steel certainly can't. And it's when any character is banished, so he counts himself, which is fantastic. If they B-prep your board, you're going to draw like 5 cards, which is nuts. Turn of Dog seems quite scary. They keep pushing racers, man. I mean, that's okay. It almost guarantees you're going to get something back. It's inkable, at least. Wreck-It Ralph, clearly a huge payoff. I don't know what the racer is you're trying to get back, or maybe it doesn't matter because maybe you're just getting lore, and it is when he quests too, so he seems at least like a payoff for that. Like, I felt like the deck didn't really have a payoff. Puppies. I kind of touched on all these already when they were initially spoiled. I don't know if any of this changes puppies. I really don't think it does. Like, why are they all obsessed with the Inkwell? I understand the Pongo pulls cards back from the Inkwell, but I don't know, is that enough of a payoff? I feel like I need an actual bigger payoff instead of just jamming them all into the Inkwell. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be enough support to make it work. I do like her stats a lot better, and she has good shift targets, and he's just very cute. The art is adorable. Pluto. A 4/7 with support, and 2 is pretty good. I don't know if that'll replace Chen Po, and obviously it's locked into these 2 colors. Bolt, I kind of touched on previously. Seems very good, obviously, if he can stick around. No damage resist +2, so a 4/3 can challenge anything with 2 power less pretty freely. He seems kind of fun. I don't know what deck this goes in. I don't know if this even goes in something like Diggy Diggy Hole, but maybe. The Jaguar. I can't. Why does this Jaguar get a card? Wasn't that creature in the movie for like 30 seconds? Obviously fits with the Antonio. I mean, instant lore is never bad, I suppose. Bodyguard, a bigger Baloo. It's too expensive for any of the aggro decks, but maybe it's good in the racer deck, just as a way to nearly guarantee lore. Lady, I've talked about this card before. I kind of touched on all the Madrigals, and there's a lot of cards to get through, so I'm trying to skip the ones I've already seen. Bodyguard. Yeah, his stats aren't amazing, especially for a bodyguard. He's only a singer +1. That's kind of weird. Is that the lowest singer we've ever had? Just a singer the one above their own weight? I don't know all the singers, but usually the singing is like 2 or 3 or 4 above their own cost, and he's just +1. Huh. I mean, technically it's a board-wide heal if you're going for the bodyguard theme. Again, the healing aspect of Lorcana is just never there, so I can't imagine that'll be worth running. I've touched on Donald. Oh, so this is the reprint. Okay, so this was confirmed. I mean, like this, I'll make this brief rant about rotation. This, to me, is part of the reason I don't like rotation, because I think this card is only reprinted because they realized, oh, all this dog support's just going to disappear if we don't have this puppy. It's the puppy you need the most of. But it's just a blank card. It doesn't do anything. Like, this is just why we shouldn't rotate that. If you're having to reprint the Dalmatian puppies, you're trying to make this new set, and then, oh, right, we're going to get rid of all the main dog that you use. Whatever. This card seems quite strong. I touched on that previously. Draw a card, and 5 is a lot. You can use it on a low-cost body. They really like this bodyguard theme. I would love to see it succeed. 2 or less from your discard. I mean, that seems pretty strong, right? Essentially spot removal, or even like bounce protection for yourself, and you pull a card back to hand. Seems nice. I don't know if Chernodogs will have room for this, because they may just want to go aggressive with characters, but it's fun. I keep wanting to call this Hakuna Matata, but it means no word. I mean, it's basically Hakuna Matata. The enchanted version of this looks beautiful, too. I wasn't over the moon about the other enchanted I saw, but I think this one looks really fun. Or at least visually looks really good. How good is it? I mean, I'll try it in the Madrigal deck, because clearly that deck wants to do a lot of singing. It's way too expensive, of course, to ever just play naturally. It's going to feel awful if you get this in your opening hand and it just sits there. I don't even know if something like Chernodogs would want this, because they're just slowing down if they're having a bunch of cards sing this together. So I'll be curious to see where that one goes. There's been trials and tribulations. You know I've had my share. I mean, it's a huge power dampener, but I don't think Steel Song has the time to afford to sing that. If it replaced itself, maybe? Yeah, seems kind of like a dud. We talked about that one. All right, on Amethyst. Illusions. We need to count up how many illusions we got. Because I've heard, like, despite it being an illusion set, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. No, only 2. That's not boding well so far. Oh, these are the Duel Links. 3. Is there only 3? Is there really only 3 illusions? That's it? I mean, unless there's some just in steel, which there might be. Wow. That seems kind of low for a set called Return of Jafar. But I've touched on him. I just don't even know what this card is. It kind of reminds me of the old Jafar card that was like, wasn't it a 0/5, or it was a 2/5 and then became a 5/5 when it hit. This is basically the same thing. Right? Hold on. Is this just worse Jafar? Where is he? This guy. So he's a 2/5. What? Why is this worse than Jafar? This came out 8 sets later. This card just has better base stats. And like unless there's some weird interaction I'm not aware of where like getting the Challenger +4 makes a difference, I don't believe it does. He's a villain. Jafar's a villain. Like, why? Why is this worse than Jafar? This doesn't even make sense. Whatever. Oh, now is the time where I get to be sad, because it's the Ruby Amethyst portion of the show. All right, let's see. Yes. Would you checking up on the chat. Would you by chance be able to take a look at the list sometime that I made for set 8? It's still a work in progress, but it plays a lot of the new Ruby Amethyst cards. Sure, I'd love to. I don't know if you're in any of the Discords, or if you're in my official Discord. I think it's in the link to the description of this video, or at least other videos. Join my Discord, Bearded Cat, if you're not already in there, and then you can send it to me in there, and I'd be happy to look at it for you. Okay, where were we? Back to... Oh, Ruby Amethyst. I'm trying to avoid this. So, if rotation works out the way we think it will, and I lose my entire Madam Mim package, which is possible, and basically my deck just dies in its current form, I don't want to do all this damage manipulation. I just don't. Like, this is not appealing to me. There's a reason. There have been a ton of cards that have done this since Lorcana's inception, and they've never been popular. There's a reason for that. It's this huge condition. It's conditions on conditions on conditions. Why would I want that when I can just go rabbit, draw a card? When it gets banished, draw a card. I don't want to do a bunch of conditions, so it's going to really bum me out if I can't play Ruby Amethyst more. I don't want to be forced into play this. 2 damage to another to return chosen character or 2. So you can kind of use this spot removal, or if there's something on your side you wanted to. But it's cost 2. What 2 or less do I want to return to my own hand? Probably nothing, because probably the thing I want to damage is my Diablo or my Cusco, so I draw off of it. So I'm probably bouncing some of theirs. I don't know what I'm bouncing with 2 or less. Granted, it's on turn 3, so like in theory I could bounce a Daisy. I don't want to do this. Now the Hades at least is a good payoff. The fact that he's on entry and on quest, and you can, I mean, that's a lot of card draw. Like, if you use this on a Cusco or a Rabbit or a Diablo, you banish them, you draw from him, and then you draw for the Hades itself. That's a total of 3 cards. That is a lot, but it's still a 7-cost uninkable that if he's alone does nothing. You have to have another character, and I'm still losing my board presence. I don't want to lose my board presence as Ruby Amethyst. Even a card like Cusco can matter, especially when I can power it up with Crab and send it into something. And it's still questing for 1 lore, so while this is at least a good payoff, like, I still just don't want to do this. Saberwing. I mean, yeah, I guess that's fine. Terribly understated. I've touched on a Boo as a cool concept before. A nice stun in purple, that's kind of nice. Unequivocal, no restrictions. I like that. So it's like the Ana. Wait, is this just better than Ana? Oh my gosh. Folks, how bad are they at designing these cards? Is this better than Ana? So they both cost 4. He has 1 more strength. Okay, so I mean, technically, it just depends what you value, right? He has more strength, but she has an extra lore, and the extra lore is huge. She also has support. So the Ana does overall have more, but like, it's kind of crazy how close that is to Ana when Ana is a dual ink color. Crazy. Royal Guard, I don't care about. The Cuscos, I don't think are interesting at all. I mean, like, okay, cool, that's nice. It hits items or locations, but it has to be cost 2 or less. What location am I hitting for cost 2 or less? There isn't one. What character? What item? Oh, yeah, let me give them their popsicle back. Like, guys, you have to expand this. You cannot just keep everything that low. And why is he the same stats as an Olaf? He costs 4. This effect isn't that good. Crazy. Megra was on the stream I was on. I mean, again, it's conditional on a Hades. Hitting for as a 4/5 on turn as a 3 cost is strong, but again, you have to have a Hades. This is essentially just the Jafar, right? From the last set, just with the stats switched. Blank, 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 blank. Wow, 3 blanks in a row. Insane. The Elsa's neat. Like, I like the idea of this continued value, and it's nice she doesn't have to exert herself like the older one, but that's, I mean, 1 ink and a discard every turn over and over again, which then you have to take advantage of exerting that character. You have to then have a character to challenge. You probably don't want to send the Elsa in, so in theory, a cool idea, but probably just too expensive. I've touched on the Pinocchio previously. Jiminy Cricket seems quite strong, especially as an anti-aggro tool, or sorry, not as a benefit to aggro, that you can keep something like a Fox or a Maui or even a 5-cost Elsa. He just kind of checks these, right? That Elsa enters the field and she's immediately exerted. Maui enters immediately sideways. Like, so Jiminy against the right deck, I think, could be quite strong. There's some decks interplay. Now, there are some things that'll get around. So, like, last night I was playing against a red-blue deck that used Vitalisphere to give its characters rush. But this says they enter exerted. And because it doesn't have rush when it enters, that card completely gets around it. So if that's very prevalent, then maybe it'll just be too much and too situational for it to matter. But he can have potential. Bambi I've talked about. Monstro. Some people are super hyped about this in Blurple. It's certainly the only deck I think that could realistically take advantage of this. I have no room for this in Ruby Amethyst or Purple Steel. It's expensive, but Blurple does draw a lot of cards, especially with Finder's Keeper. So if he hit for 1 more, if he hit for like 7, I would like him a little better because then he can take out most locations. Like, having to pay 8 and discard a card to take out 1 library or castle just doesn't seem amazing to me. It's nice that he can quest after that, and you can even every turn like quest, ready him, throw him at something, quest, ready him, throw him at something. So it's cool art, and it's a cool idea. I will try it, but I won't be surprised if he gets cut. It's got to be this specific character. Did this need to be uninkable? Is this really that strong? If it was when he quested, I'd kind of get it. But he has to stop doing your win condition and exert. Again, I don't get this. Ugh. Now, if you're ready for a bad time, check out these purple-green cards. I think all of these are terrible. So, okay, so let's... This card, you have to use this effect. If you don't use this effect, well, I just want an evasive, yeah? Have you heard of a card called... Let's pull him up. He's a green card called Ray. Okay, I don't know why all those came up. Ray, the lightning bug. 5 cost, 3/3 evasive. 5 cost, 3/3 evasive, 2 lore. Oh, and Ray has 3 lore, and he's inkable. So unless I'm using the effect and it's in green, this is a worse Ray. What's its effect? When he plays character, return another chosen character to your hand to draw a card. That is okay. That is not bad. I like the idea of bouncing a rabbit or a goat. Obviously, you get their effect, and you draw an additional card. You could even something as simple as a merfolk, right? And then you protect the merfolk, and you put it down. That's not bad. Did this need to be uninkable? This is, again, technically worse stats than Ray, with an effect that is still a conditional effect, and you have to have another character in play. So, again, if you have an empty board and this is your only card in hand, it doesn't do anything. And it's locked into Duel Links. Why is this uninkable? If this was inkable, I might actually play this card in purple-green. It's my girlfriend's favorite deck, so we've been on the lookout for cards to add to it, but just as an uninkable, it's just, meh. Cusco, same thing. Okay, this card. I couldn't believe the amount of people defending this card. So obviously it's insanely expensive. Yes, way better if you shift it. But playing this for 7, sometimes that deck doesn't even get up to 7. 7 to then let your opponent decide which character to get rid of. And then no matter what they get rid of, they draw a card. Why do they draw a card? This is basically worse Yzma. Yeah, Yzma only lets them draw 2, but she's 1 cheaper, and I get to pick which one it is. Sure, if you somehow get their board to only 1 character on the board, but how do these colors do that? This color doesn't have a Be Prepared. The only way these colors tend to control the board is through challenging everything. Why? Like, the stats are fine, and the 2 lore questing is nice. What they should have done, not that they ever want to reach into this level of, like, complexity, why not make this card really interesting? Keep okay, they get to choose, but make it so, hey, if they choose a 1-drop, so first of all, you should be the one drawing a card. They should return something, and then you should be the one drawing a card. It is a dual ink card. It is locked into Duel Links. Those should be stronger than normal cards. So you should be the one to draw, and it should say, if they return like a 4 or higher to their deck, you draw a card. But if they return a 3 cost or lower to their deck, you get to draw 2. So it gives your opponent a real choice. Imagine that choice and interaction and then like a puzzle that you're, oh, okay, hey, you can send away your little Tipo, which is like a weak body, and keep your shark on the board, but then I get 2 cards out of it. Or you can send the shark away, and then I only get 1. Or maybe I get none in that case. However you think it's best to balance design it. And now it's interesting for both players. Here's this interesting Cusco. What are you going to do? And the opposing player gets to go, well, I don't want to give up my half shark, but I also don't want you to draw 2 cards by me sending the Tipo away. What do I do? Wow, actual interesting interactive gameplay. Imagine. Yeah, it's just too slow. Uh-oh. Gotta find our way back. What a perfect time to check on the chat. Hello to anyone out there watching. Hope you are enjoying yourself, and I hope you're having a great, what is today, Wednesday? Yeah. Wednesday. I'll have to edit the start of this video because I was dumb and didn't have the sound on. Okay, Yzma. Oh, again, like, it's... I'll compare this to, what is it, Down in New Orleans from later? Let's see. And you might say, well, how can you compare these 2 cards? But we'll just skip ahead and talk about this now. This card is, of course, we can't have a set without blue getting some card that says play for free on it. This is like Gaston, except not on a body. You check the top 3. And then you can play anything for free, as long as it's on action. But location, character, items, so it doesn't have to be a character. Like, my goodness, like, man, and it's a song, so like a half shark can sing this, and you can then play another half shark or Tamatoa for free. Why? No restriction. The only restriction is it cannot be an action, but it doesn't just check to top. You get the best choice out of the 3. Even if you end up pulling something kind of like small, like a Tipo, you got a free 2-drop on the board. At its worst, I mean, it's at its absolute worst, you completely whiff, although the odds of that are going to be pretty darn low. But at its like more realistic worst, you're going to get a free something on the board. Heck, even a free popsicle. Again, is that worth singing? Well, I mean, for the shark it is, because he then just gets lore off of it. Versus this card, which, yes, it's on a body, but it's so conditional. You have to have the card pull the lever in your discard, and then you have to have a wrong lever still in your deck. Which you might think, well, that'll always happen. Well, will it? Are you going to run a full 4 of each of those? I mean, you may have to make this card work, to make sure you still have one left in your deck. Like, that's already a bunch of conditions. Why is this uninkable? This is also conditionally locked into one deck. Why is this uninkable? And then it doesn't even play it for free. Like, if it played it for free, if you played this character, you get a body, 2 lore, and you immediately get to play wrong lever from your deck, that's really strong. Okay, that I would understand. This gets to just play stuff for free. Why couldn't this? The condition. There are 4 conditions on this deck. It's uninkable. It's locked into one single deck. You must have this card specifically in your discard, and you must have this card specifically in your deck. Why is this uninkable? Baffling. Green-purple just gets done dirty over and over and over again. All right, what do we got? Madam Mim, speaking of baffling, more bad red. So this Madam Mim, let's double check just to make sure I haven't missed anything. I believe it's impossible to actually shift this on turn 2, right? Yes, there is no 1-cost Madam Mim. The cheapest Madam Mim is the snake and this one. Well, because of the way the Rhino works, that it's like the snake and the fox, that you have to banish another character. You'd have to get this out on 2. Obviously, snake would need something to bounce. And then on turn 3, the only way you could even play this is if you then have a 1-drop. Because once she shifts onto the 2-drop, you need another card to bounce or she dies. So you specifically have to have a 1-drop on 3 with a Mim on 2. Which, now granted, if you go 1-drop, snake bounce Mim on turn 2, turn 3, replay the 1-drop, and then you shift the Mim Rhino, is that really worth it? Like, don't get me wrong. I understand 6/5 is a lot of stats on turn 3. But again, why did this need to be uninkable? If you can't shift this, and it's impossible to actually shift it on turn 2, so why does it shift 2? Who knows? This is the stats of a Maui. This is a Maui without Rush. We already saw nobody play the elephant. Why didn't anyone play the elephant? Because it was too expensive. Fox and Snake, the reason these saw play, and even Snake is dropping off now, Fox really only continues to see play because of the Rush. If Fox didn't have Rush, you would not see this card the way you do, is because they're cheap. Because for 6 ink, I can rabbit and then bounce it with the Snake. Or I can crab on 3, bounce it with the Fox for 3. I can't play rabbit for 4 and then bounce it with the Rhino for 6. It's locked to one color. It has a... Why? It costs 6. Why is this uninkable? Why? I couldn't believe this was just the basic Mim effect with all these other restrictions. Insane. What's Gothel do? Let me guess. Damage. Yep. To give that character challenger +1, and then... So I do like that it comes back to your hand. I don't know what I'm using this on. Like turn 1... I guess in theory, if I drop Chernabog... Well, no, because you have to deal damage to it. So it has to live, which means the only turn 1s that this would work with is a 1/3. You have to have like Olaf or the Minnie Mouse. And it's red, purple locked, so it has to be one of those cards. Let's actually see. Red, purple, 1-drop. Willpower, 3. Okay. So not counting the locations... Mulan doesn't count. She would die. So we can play Minnie Mouse, Arthur, Olaf, Pain, Palace Guard. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are only 5 cards in the game that you can make this work on turn 1 with. Because again, the damage can't banish it, so it can actually challenge. And it has to specifically be banished in a challenge. So you can play your Olaf on 1, put 2 damage on it, give it challenger +1, so it's a 2/3, which is still not amazing. That's not going to take out a Daisy. I don't know. Again, why? Why is that uninkable? That's such a pedantic effect. Like, whatever. Blue Fairy's fine, nothing special. Anna. If this wasn't locked with the Elsa, I may actually just raw play this in Blurple. It's solid stats, quest for 2. If it was just player draw a card, I mean, granted we have Rabbit and Genie, so again, even maybe not, and that's a lot of the way I evaluate cards, right? Is that even if you significantly buffed this, okay, there's no Elsa condition, just you play her, you draw a card. Would you play that? Do you want to spend 6 to just draw a card? And the more I think about it, the more no, I don't. Sultan, I'm very excited for illusion support. I do want to build an illusion deck. I hope the illusions work out. This is actually a really cool effect. I like that it's continuous. Again, I don't know if this needed to be uninkable. I don't think it did. Why not? It's locked into 2 colors. It has vanished. That's already a downside. And it's very specifically only works with illusions, like restriction, restriction, restriction. It can be inkable. You can't just jam this card anywhere. I would understand if this was a generic 5/5 2 lore that said anytime anything quest, exert an opposing character. Yeah, that's insanely strong. But it's not. It already hasn't. Did this need to be uninkable? Same with Jafar. I like this card at least. I've talked about him. I've talked about all the Madrigals before. Flowers, okay. It's kind of the bare minimum. I've talked about Forest Duel. They could never come back. Seems quite strong. I love the idea of a double freeze and it replaces itself. I don't know slot-wise where that's going to fit, but it's a cool idea, especially against aggro. If there's a sideboard, I'd absolutely keep this in my sideboard. Talked about all the Madrigal stuff. Pull Lever I've talked about. Into the Unknowns. Not quite as good as Let It Go or Hades. I really hope those cards get reprinted for Blurple. Otherwise, I think that deck could just crumble. Because there's times if they drop a Tamatoa or a Shark or the shiny Tamatoa, the big Tamatoa, a Sisu, you have to get rid of that card before it quests, before it does whatever it's going to do. You can't wait for it to do its thing and then put it into the Inkwell. Still, it's better than nothing, and I do like that it's cheaper. This card seems quite strong as well. Again, the whole damage manipulation thing, this at least seems like a payoff for it. Okay, you've got damage on a bunch of stuff, and then you can draw a card for everything that's moved that way. That I do like. Scarab I've talked about. Ice Spikes is actually quite good. I love that you can just freeze a lucky dime permanently. Yes, please. Don't mind if I do. And we'll move on to Evasive. Hey, dear, what's up? How are you? Oh, we got... Hey, Jesse. I think there are vanilla 5/5 2 quest inkable 5 drops that should be the baseline of inkable, though they should make more busted cards to keep it fun. Well, yeah, and specifically for dual inks, they should make dual inks stronger than normal, right? Because they're restricted. You can only play this card in purple-green, so it should be stronger than normal because it inherently has a restriction on it. So thank you for that comment, Jesse. How goes it? Sorry, quick girlfriend break and water break. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to. I got, yeah, I'm through the first 2 colors, so I'm just going to run through these next ones. Yes, please. Thank you, dear. All right, so blank, play, bounce anything that's strong, and quest. Basil's good. He's expensive, but he's good. No shift. Yeah, I like the effects are both great. I love both the effects, just he's very expensive. Tramp I've touched on. These are just whatever. I don't... again, like, I guess it's okay, but it's unreliable with the keeping damage. If it wasn't a damage character, if this was just 2 damage anything, I'd be cool. Fred is just Benja, green Benja. That's fine. Not that we've seen Benja in a long time, but, you know, that's solid. Paying this for 3 doesn't still make me want to play it. That should tell you something, that even for 3 cost, I wouldn't necessarily want to play this. And it has a condition to become 3 cost. Dale, it's just a blank. Lewis, this one, when I first saw this, I thought this was awful. Looking at it now, though, I was starting to think, is like anti-aggro could be kind of interesting. You play it, you give their Daisy Duck Reckless, they're forced to run into this 4/3 on your board, assuming you've manipulated your board so he's the only target. Like, at first I was just like, why does this just enter exerted? But that kind of makes sense. Against anything other than aggro, this isn't going to feel good. Like, I don't think you want to do this to a Maui shark and have the shark just come eat himself alive. It works good against a Sisu, too, that you could force that Sisu to run into you, and it'll actually trade with the Sisu. So I dismissed this originally, but the more I thought about it, I was like, there really could be some good applications for this card. I think he could be better in practice than he first seems. The tricky part will just be, you have to make sure there's no other target for them. Like, you can't do that and then quest with your merfolk. So they'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just take your merfolk out. So potentially interesting. A lot of potential. Blank. Discard on entry seems solid, especially for a discard deck. I love this giant Fred. This art here is so good. Until you reveal a Floodborn. What I love about this is it can't whiff, right? Like, it's no just like, okay, it has to be the top card or the top couple cards. No, you just, until you find a Floodborn. That's cool. What do they call that? Like a cascade or a waterfall effect? I think they called it that in Final Fantasy or Magic. And you'd keep flipping over cards until you found the one you wanted. A little expensive at 7 because then he doesn't do anything till turn 8. Obviously much better if you can shift him. And the item breaker Fred's pretty cool. So he's exciting. I like the Fred. This will be a quicker way to get down to it. Let's see. Where's the Fred? There he is. Gadget is okay. Again, very conditional, like a little understated, or it is understated for a 4 cost. I like the 2 lore. I like the effect. Golly. That's a very Gadget thing to say. Just, yeah, like if you could guarantee, if this was a 4 cost, 3/2, so a 3/2/2 lore is the same as a Prince Philip who has a ward, and he costs 1 less. If this unconditionally drew a card, would we play this? No matter what. 4 costs, 3/2, probably. And it's inkable. It essentially kind of becomes a genie then without the evasive. Would we play this over Genie? I mean, the Genie evasive? You'd get the inkable, and it's guaranteed card draw, so maybe. Yeah. But in its current state, maybe just a little too conditional. Whenever this character quests, you pay 2. This got revealed on the stream I was on. That was nice. It's too slow, unfortunately, but it's a cool effect. It really is. Especially the fact that that character, it doesn't shut them off from questing. So in theory, if you drop her on like turn 6, let's say she sticks around, you have a merfolk, you could just go, quest, pay 2, ready, quest, pay 2, ready, quest, pay 2, ready. Suddenly that single merfolk is getting you 8 lore. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I read this. That you could just do it infinite. It's only when she quests. Okay, never mind. It's not nearly as good then. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably not very good then. For some reason, I read it as like, oh, you could just keep paying to do it over and over again. The other legendary. I like the can't quest effect. I actually like that as a part of Green's identity. This body isn't amazing. It dies to both Zeus and Brawl. So that's not great. And Big Sisu. It's nice that it's evasive. It also does nothing the turn you play it. Maybe if she had the play on entry, that'd be a little more appealing. I like this Flynn. Like, I like the idea of this. That they make it. Again, choices are usually pretty interesting. It makes them gives them a choice. Discard and gain lore. And what's nice too is if they have no cards in hand, so if you put this in a discard deck, you're forced to gain 2 lore because they can't actually discard. And he quests for 3, which is nice. Only problem is his stats are terrible for a 4 cost, and he has nothing the turn he's played, and then they have to challenge him. Well, they're not going to challenge him when they can just spot remove him with a Brawl or Zeus or Strength with 4 characters on the board. So yeah, his stats I don't think justify all this, but he at least has a neat idea. Talked about Dormouse. Have I seen this, Alice? Whenever this character quests, put one on each other character, including your own. I don't care for the whole red-green self-damage thing, but clearly this at least fits in with their identity, so it's fine. Did this need to be a 2/6? That was the same as the Queen from the... Again, why does this die to a Brawl? It's a 6 cost. I get it can be shifted on 3, but... This Queen, awesome payoff. I absolutely want to see someone quest for 6 lore, and maybe I'll try to make a fun deck tech where I can get that off, but man... 5 total damaged characters in play, which means they haven't been challenged. They're all just sitting there with 5 damage. Essentially, I feel like you have to combo it with this Alice, right? You have the Queen. You then maybe either shift the Alice or you then quest with the Alice. Then you damage everything. And then she gets 6 lore, which is fun. But yeah, I can't. That's going to be hard to pull off, I'd imagine. I actually like this hero quite a bit. It's kind of funny. You can use it on your opponent's characters. So their Diablo, if they have a Diablo, you can ready it and then do all your card draw so that the Diablo doesn't benefit from it. That's pretty cool. I like that. Jesse says, make Tala challenge instead of sing. Well, I guess she can still sing, though. Reckless. Yeah, that's true. That's very interesting. Go Tamago. This is all about like Floodborn shifting, right? you can put chosen into their player's team. I mean, it's a Hades let it go effect on a shift. It kind of sucks. You have to shift her, but the shift is the same cost as the player. That's weird. So you can pay for the player, which does absolutely nothing, or you pay the exact same amount to shift her. That's a weird card. So you don't playing this naturally is pretty awful. As it's just a body that just sits there. That's so weird. The shift is the same cost as. Huh. I mean, the effect, like the spot removal, is fantastic, obviously. That's such a weird card. Huh. I don't know what to make of that. Dan Canalj. I like this. I personally am not into this whole action song thing, but people who know it more can tell me if this is good or not. The hook is okay. His art's really nice. Whenever an opposing character is damaged, it's weird because it's like it doesn't really work with the challenging, right? Like, so you go in with the hook, you challenge, you've damaged an opposing character, and now your pirates get more. So I guess it's really good if like your whole board is ready. And it's anytime an opposing character is damaged. So if you like drop Tinkerbell and now all your pirates get buffed, that's pretty cool. Maybe there is some kind of combo there. Maybe that's what you do. You actually could just play him naturally on 5, drop the Tinkerbell on 6, boom, they all get hit, and then he runs in. Maui. Put 2 damage counters on all opposing characters, which gets around resist, which is crazy. Banish all opposing items, banish all opposing locations. Man, someone on the team loves Emerald Steel, because that just seems... And even beyond that, again, this feels like it was actually designed. So his stats he's understated, but it's acceptable for a 6 cost with 3 lore. 3 lore is a ton, so they have to get rid of this card. And then unless they're tucking it into your Inkwell, they're going to banish him, and then they just get to choose whatever's best for them. So he seems really interesting. There's no shift on him. So maybe that, like the traditional discard Diablo Prince John package, I don't think he's going to fit into that, but he's interesting at least. You play a Floodborne character... Bounce. I mean, clearly fits in with this whole Floodborne theme. Jacques is very good in Turn of Dogs. It's kind of crazy. They get instant lore. Archimedes. More item hate. And then you get to cycle a little bit. This is item hate not on a body, but you replace itself with a draw. This card... Is it just me? I feel like this card seems terrible. It's just... I mean, obviously if you sing it, who cares? Because then it's free, but... It's just very specific what it hits. Like, and Under the Sea can potentially hit the whole board, and obviously people build decks to combo with that, so it's inkable at least. Yeah, I don't know. Wrong lever. Mother knows best. You just bounce, or you can put a pull the lever into the bottom of the deck, which doesn't even synergize with the Yzma, because you would need it. You would need it in your discard. I mean, it's like if you can, it's good removal, like 3 to essentially just spot remove anything, basically permanently, because it puts it on the bottom of their deck. The removal is good, although it has weird synergy with the Yzma. And it requires you to play the pull the lever. Huh. Really high potential for this one. I'm not sure beyond that. I've talked about this one before. Fits the pirate theme, I guess. I'm not really into the whole pirate theme as is. At least for those colors. You shift play them. I mean, that's kind of neat. And any shifted character, of course, can challenge right away. So if you're going in on the whole shift idea, I'm sure you'd use this. The idea that the big Baymax could hit for 9 is kind of scary. This challenge, you may put the top card of your deck in your equal phase. That's kind of neat, too. A neat way to, like, incidentally ramp. Oh, is that the Enchanted Rapunzel? She looks good. I like that. So moving on to Ruby. A bunch of these I touched on already. With the Duel Links. They really are pushing this racer package. I mean, this is quite strong. Yeah, the stats are terrible, but just on a body. It's basically the Aladdin, right? But you gain Allure. I think the Aladdin didn't... I don't think he gained you Allure. He just made them lose Allure. Aladdin, 3 cost. Each opponent loses Allure. So yeah, you lose 1 strength. Who cares? And it's a racer, so it fits in that theme. Nice. That seems strong. Blank. Yeah, that's fine. I've touched on her. This character is banished. During this... So obviously it implies in a challenge, it makes him a decent challenger. He essentially kind of becomes a Calhoun in that sense. So if he banishes in the very challenge that he's using, you'll get 2 lore off of him, which is kind of cool. It's nice it's not restricted to your turn, but still just he specifically has to be banished in a challenge, otherwise he just doesn't do anything. Dodo is kind of fun. If I try to do the whole damage package, he seems like the primary candidate to use for it, right? You drop him on 3, and then Hades or whoever else, and you stack a bunch of damage on him so that he's a 5/6. Yeah, for a 3. There's an idea there, right? There's at least an idea there. Checking in on chat. Quickie, hello. Anyone watching? All right. Alice, don't you know? You mean already chosen damage character of yours? It can't quest for us. Doesn't Raya just do that without the restriction? Am I misremembering the Raya? Oh, that's if they're put into your inkwell. Okay. Wait. When you play this character, already chosen character... Oh, that's at a location. Okay. So Raya does have similar cards, but not quite that generic. I mean, I guess if you're playing red-blue items... Although evasive with a 1/1 body tends to not matter, as anything with evasive can take it out easily in any kind of spot removal. One of your items to chosen character, unless you're getting the benefit from items being banished, like lore gain or whatever, then it doesn't seem like it. Mushu was revealed on my stream. It's cool that he can give anything rush. It's kind of like pocket watch on a body, and obviously he can shift into the bigger Mushu. You'll probably see him just for those purposes. This doesn't really seem amazing. Although it is nice, you can like just quest with the other 2. Now give him the lore bump. Quest for 3. Blank. Figaro. I mean, it's kind of neat. I guess that technically gives Ruby Amethyst a way to stall the dime for at least a single turn. Not that usually the turn they're playing the dime, they're not like hitting the Tamatoa that same turn, but still, I can't really afford to run a card like that just to delay a dime for a turn. I've talked about Thumper. Fits with Racers. This seems just... When you play a character with 5 strength or more, you exert them to gain 2 lore. The card that immediately came to mind for that was Maui, but if I'm playing Maui, it's because I need him to challenge something. Like, I can't... Him exerting the moment he comes in... I mean, granted, it's instant lore, but and the weird thing is she's such a low cost. So, like, what are you playing? Let's take a quick look. So, 3 costs, or sorry, yeah. So 3 costs with strength of 5 or higher. So in all colors, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards you could play on turn 3 to immediately get a benefit from. None of them, or the Prince John is from this set. Is that worth it? I mean, you don't care if he comes in exerted, or really these. Not that any of these really see play. I don't think it actually works with a Gustav, right? Because he already enters play exerted, and this says you may exert them. Yeah, so because he enters exerted, he doesn't count. So we actually have 4 cards. And most of these don't. I mean, granted, the Prince John's... I mean, maybe there's something there with the Prince John. I'm not using that in Ruby Amethyst, but maybe in some kind of other fun Ruby deck. Maybe in the Challenger list? Because he's not bad in the Challenger list just because his stats are so high. But is that worth it? Is that worth it doing a Tinkerbell just for the... I don't know. Seems underwhelming to me. Lilo. He plays character for free. Ah, goody. More things for free. It's kind of funny. I'm guessing she's giant here. Ready chosen character they can't quest for the rest of the turn. So it's the Alice effect, right? Oh, and this is damaged character. Wow, I missed that about the Alice. Okay, this card's terrible. I mean, obviously it fits in with the whole like self-damage theme, but just no thanks. Okay. So even if you ignore the first effect, would you play a 5/5, a 5 cost 4/4, quest for 2, and you get a free ready that can then do whatever. It's protected. It can challenge. That's not bad. Yeah, and obviously if you can play it for free, that's insane. I don't know, like in Ruby Amethyst, I don't know what I would take out for that. Like it's 5. I'm not taking out Maui for that. And I would never be able to play enough actions to make her free. Obviously fits well in like the Robin Hood action deck or any of those like super action heavy decks. Could make a Shark, because that's what we need, is more things to make Shark threatening. But it could make Shark quite threatening, is maybe Shark challenges a location, you do a bunch of actions, get all the Shark lore, Lilo comes in for free, readies the Shark. Now Shark does whatever he wants. So, goody. More things to help Maui Shark. I was weren't you guys all thinking that? It's like, hey, you know what we need? A couple more things to help the Maui half Shark. LeFou. Okay. That's kind of neat that's repeatable. They're definitely trying to do this like item thing with Red Blue this set. Coachman. And gains evasive. That's interesting. So on turn 2, he counts himself though. That's kind of interesting actually. So if you played your 1-drop, turn 2 you play him. On turn 3, even if he just quests with your 1-drop, he's a 4/2 evasive. That's pretty cool. Now, obviously, they can just take out the 1-drop and then he loses that power. So if they had the ability to challenge, they just challenge in the right order. But then on your next turn, if you quest out first and he's a 4/2, that's interesting. I'll have to play around with him. Mulan is just like a slightly better version of Shang, and you could argue maybe not even better, just different. Again, I understand the ability to challenge ready characters is a strong effect. So that's why they keep making all these effects uninkable. But this is a dual ink card. This is locked to 2 colors. This can only go in a single deck, and she does not help your win condition of questing. She obviously only helps the win condition if you have the Mushu. I like that she can challenge evasives, like she can challenge readies. She's reckless. That's fine because it's the challenger deck anyway. But like, did this need to be uninkable? No, it didn't. This is the new Mushu. If you can get both these Mushus on the turn, you play a character and it immediately can go in and knock out like, it's a cool effect. I don't think you ever want to shift this on top of the other Mushu, because the other Mushu is still your win condition, but now you just have even another Mushu. He doesn't really work with the shift though, because he himself doesn't benefit from it. So he is a little expensive. You legit want him sitting there, and then anything new you play immediately just goes berserk state and goes in. And so he might end up being too expensive, but he's at least a cool idea. When his character is banished, you may draw a card. And I could also see that potentially backfiring at times. It's only during your turn. Nah, that's not great. Blank. It's like Flynn, but for... Yeah, it's a more expensive Flynn. Probably not very good. Princeton I've talked about. Ready all your characters for the turn. They take no damage from challenges and can't quest. I mean, that sounds perfect for the challenger. Although the challenger deck, you already got resist from the Mushu, so maybe you don't even need that. And it's very expensive. It's an interesting idea. I don't know what deck that would go in. I've talked about Get Out. Light the Fuse. Okay, so this is a perfect example of what I mean with Duel Links. I really want to highlight this card. Compare it to... Oh, I can just X out over here. Good. Our 1-cost uninkable steel card, Fire the Cannons. So let's look at these side by side. 1-cost uninkable, 1-cost uninkable. Goes in any steel deck, locked to a steel deck, steel red deck. 2 damage chosen character. 1 damage for every exerted character you have in play. Why is this uninkable? For this to exceed Fire the Cannons, you must have 3 exerted characters or more in play. If you only have 2 or less, this is worse Fire the Cannons. And Fire the Cannons, again, has no restrictions. It's just you put it in... This is locked to 1 deck. Why is this... It already... Again, here's a big condition. It's uninkable. Here's another condition. Yes, there's an up... Like, this alone was already good risk versus reward, right? Hey, you can get higher than cannons, but it does have this condition tied to it. That was enough. Okay, it's like a mix of Fire the Cannons and Strength of the Raging Fire. This did not need to be uninkable. This was already... It's locked into 1 single deck. Like, I just don't understand why they make so many of these cards uninkable. But genuine, and how many, like, I get the idea, oh, well, if you're in a challenger deck, you're going to be challenging, so you're going to have all these evasive, or all these exerted characters, but again, okay, but to exceed Fire the I need three exerted characters is a lot, especially in a challenger deck, which has already struggled as is. Like, my whole point, I like the card, I like that this deck combination is getting non-challenging base spot removal. It needed that. It really did. It did not need to be uninkable. That is ridiculous. But they absolutely love just slapping uninkable on the most random of things. Twitter pated. And I've talked about that one. Equal to the damage on chosen character, then banish them. It's so expensive. This is the cost of a beep rep or an energy blast. Like, how much lore do you need to get from this? And you lose the character. It would have to be 4, right? 4, I think. I think even 3 doesn't feel good. It's just so expensive. Like, you just don't have room for this. You don't have room for this card that then potentially, I mean, I don't know, maybe he fits with the Dodo guy here. You get him all the way up to 5 damage, and you play this for 7, and you get a bunch of lore. So, Xianyu, obviously just, ready shenanigans. I still think Shield of Virtue is a little more easier to get off, because obviously you need something that's a character you can exert. All right, moving on to blue. Quick chat, see if I miss it. Hey, congrats on the hat trick. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It was quite the welcome surprise. What's that line from the Emperor from Star Wars? A surprise, but a welcome one, to be sure. I've touched on most of these original Duel Links. Where's some original stuff? Blank. Support to whatever. I wish this gave it to all the puppies. Giving it to a single one just doesn't seem very good, especially because there's still no payoff puppy. I mean, it's basically blank. Tag into the ink. It's on. It's kind of a ramp on a body, but you have to have Elsa. How many 2-cost Elsas are there? Cards. There's one. So you have to specifically have this Elsa, which means you have to play Blurple, assuming you're doing this right on turn 3. And if you're not, it's a worse. There are 2-cost cards with this exact same stat line. Okay. Wasabi, they always give him support. That's fine. It's support. Here's the Go-Go. Obviously, if you shift with the other Go-Go. I mean, okay, so if you can shift with the Go-Go, that's actually quite the payoff. So you get her out. You shift to the next Go-Go. Not only do you get to send something of theirs to their equal, so it's spot removal, and you ramp all in one turn. That's cool. That is actual good payoff. Obviously very conditional, but at least conditions are fine if they have a good payoff, and that's a good payoff. This one's kind of like a light Flaversham. Stats aren't nearly as strong, although it's more resistant to the red removal, but you have to discard the item. You won't get the benefit of playing the Popsicle, but obviously then works with the Tamatoa. I'll be curious to see if this one sees play. This one also kind of like Flaversham, except it doesn't do it on quest or entry, so way, way slower and way less. Oh, poor Flaversham. He was ahead of his time. I've talked about her. Yeah, we've had effects like that. Blank. I like effects like this when they can continually give it over and over again. Granted, this probably isn't going to stick around, and she can't give it to herself, which, granted, why would you even be doing that? Because she's not doing anything. The Stitch, the 2 legendaries. He's fun, at least. I like how interesting he is. I don't know if he'll see play, just especially because he benefits your opponent as well. Let's see. Good enchanted, too. So you both get to ramp. Usually the point of blue is you do not want to help your opponent's ramp. These cards in your discard, you can choose and discard a card, any card with the ink symbol, to play him for free, and he enters play exerted. I mean, it kind of fits in with the zombie Lilo. Granted, it's in blue, and blue has way better things to be doing than this. So, he's fun. I don't think this is ever going to see play, especially because he helps your opponent, but he's a neat idea, at least. Radigan, I think people are a little overly harsh on this card. So it's a blue deck, right? You're not going to have any issues ramping in blue. You're not going to have an issue putting a card in your inkwells every turn, especially if you have Great Stone Dragon. And then he's a 6/7 with Ward. So he can't be hit by anything. And Quest for 4, don't get me wrong. It's ultimately just a big body, and he can still suffer to a Tremaine or a Be Prepared, or, a Maui with a boost, or a Crab Fox combo. There are cards that can take him out, and blue probably has better things to do than just stick a body that doesn't do anything. I think Mufasa's, if you're going to go in on an 8 big quester and Sapphire, Mufasa at least has an insane payoff compared to Radigan. But I don't think he's terrible. Ultimately at the end of the day, it's just a big body, but I don't think he's as like awful as some people make him out to be. Arthur is very interesting. I think now I'm no blue-gray expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I think this card currently is unplayable in its current form, especially in like the Kiwi deck. That card needs its card, or that deck needs its card draw. I cannot properly illustrate how detrimental it will be to not draw a card a turn. So think of it this. Let's go through it. Let's say you go first. You have 7 in hand. You ink, you play a card, you now have 5. You draw for next turn, you're at 6. You ink, you play a card, you're at 4 in hand. Turn 3, you draw, you're at 5 in hand. You ink, you play a card, you're at 3. Turn 4, you draw, you're at 4. You ink, you play the Arthur, you have 2 cards in hand. You don't get to draw next turn, which means if you need to ink again, you now have no hand. And you still have this Arthur on the field. There are times, if I see my opponents play this, assuming I'm not under such a lore threat that I have to get rid of him, I'll probably let this Arthur sit on the field. Be like, no, that's good. Please, by all means, keep your body. I'll let you get close to lethal lore, and you're not drawing cards this whole time while I sit up, and then my Maui's just going to take him out. And that is my other concern, too, is like, so he quests on turn 5. Hopefully you're questing. Hopefully you're not having to force him to challenge. I mean, Crab, Fox, Maui can just one-shot him. Like, he's not as insane. I actually think he could have been a little cheaper, and maybe some people think I'm crazy for saying that, but because he can't even do anything then till turn 5, and it immediately hurts your next draw step, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just my style. I'm a Ruby Amethyst player, so of course I want a bunch of cards in my hand. Maybe he'll be great. Maybe he actually will feel really busted, where it's like, oh my gosh, this 6/6 on turn 4, like, what do I do about this? And they already are putting on so much lore pressure through Smee and everything else that maybe the Arthur is just the nail in the coffin, and he seals it. Currently, I think he's going to feel worse. I think he's going to ruin a lot of players by skipping their draw step, but he's a neat idea, at least. I've talked about Bernard. I've talked about all these. They go in the whole ally theme. This goes an item. Chosen item into its... Oh, he can get opposing items. Okay, so it's kind of like repeated hideaway on a body. That's kind of interesting. I'd be surprised if anyone makes space for him, but interesting. Blank. Geppetto, let me guess, works with items. Each item. In theory, cool. I don't know how many you could possibly discard, and then you're hurting your hand. Obviously, a great setup for Tamatoa, as you could actually turn 5, and then turn 6, you quest with him, junk a bunch of items, immediately hit Tamatoa, bring him right back. Heads held high. I mean, that's okay. It's cool that it's like a blanket board presence, but I feel like Blue's got better things to do. Pouncing Practice is very thematic. Although they only get evasive this turn. I've already talked about New Orleans. Looked at the top card. I love the art on this. I like that it's them all watching the Bolt on the TV. I mean, it's good payoff for puppies, right? It's a little expensive. It's going to cost you 4 just to get 1. And again, I just wish they would give us a puppy worth playing. That's my issue, is that I still don't see a difference in puppies, because I don't think these puppies ultimately pay off for anything. But this actually does make sense with your Inkwell, right? Is it expensive if all these puppies are jammed into your Inkwell, and now maybe you can just overwhelm them with bodies with the use of the television set? I would like to see this be successful. So this is like just worse version of Heart of Tefiti. I mean, technically you only have to pay for it up front, but then you're losing the items. Surely there's better things to be doing with your items. That seems pretty bad to me. I don't know if I've even seen the crystal. Oh, that's nice art. I do like that Enchanted Jasmine. Exert to chosen character gains resist to and support until the start of your next turn. That's weird. Resist 2 is quite strong. Support is kind of at odds at that, though, right? Like, well, I guess it's till the start of your next... Okay, so maybe not. So maybe you give that to a quester. I was thinking, like, well, wait, why would you give support to a card that then wants to challenge? But if you actually give it resist 2, you quest with it. You know, you put it on some big quester, like your Mufasa. Now, he's buffing something else out, and he's still protected. I might put that in Blurple. That could be good. That seems pretty strong. And it's inkable. Well, of course, it's a blue card. Honestly, it was funny when the Down in New Orleans came out, my friends and I were like, oh man, they must have made a mistake with this card. Like, why is it uninkable? Did they forget this is a Sapphire card? That should absolutely be an inkable card. He's a big rat. He's a big old rat. All right, we got 1 color left on the steel. And let's see what we got. Talked about most of these already. And the other inks, I wish they had a way to filter out the dual inks. Blank, big body blank. It's a bodyguard. Okay, so we got another illusion, so our illusion count is going up at least. And I do like that he helps the other illusions. I am excited to try the illusion deck. I hope it's worth something. That's way too specific. This is actually a pretty good counter to something like Merfolk. You just, on a body, you get to take out Merfolk, which is really nice. Other than that, he's very weak and he's uninkable. But specifically against Merfolk or anything else, like a Chernabog, he's actually quite a good counter to Chernabog, too. I don't think you'll take that over Fire the Cannons, though. I don't think you need the body that badly. Hook is the reprint, which is nice art. Damage also this character is reduced by 1. I mean, it's just a body. It's a bodyguard. Genie. It's kind of crazy in a set called Return of Jafar. This is like the only Genie card we got. And he's just an evasive challenger. Isn't that the Jafar stats? That's pretty solid at least. Right? The snake. Is he a 3/4? 3/4 on 4. And if he although this one it can't banish in a challenge. That's kind of cute. I like that he hides in a shell and gains resist. This is blank. 2 costs for Zipper, which then is just an evasive challenger. But Monterey Jack is a 5 cost, so you'd want to play him later anyway. That's weird. Blank. Wow, Steel's got some crummy cards. This one is interesting. One of your other characters is banished, gain a lore. So again, if they B-prep your board, in theory, like his stats are weak and it sucks he's uninkable, but in theory, you just kind of let him sit there as a totem, and then I guess you would want to be putting on the pressure so that they're forced to challenge these characters like a Diggy Hold deck, but then now you're getting extra lore out of it. He's interesting. I don't know if he'll make the cut, but he's interesting. That's kind of okay. But again, like if they have enough to challenge, they'll just do it in the right order, right? They'll take out the exerted ones, and now he can be challenged. That doesn't seem that good. Fantastic art, but man, this effect kind of sucks. So, if he could like cheat in on your opponent's turn somehow after they've challenged you, great. But like you're probably putting him in an aggro deck. He's just Smee. He has the stats of Smee, except very conditional to play him. And again, the damage on Smee isn't really a downside. Someone was like, "Well, this way he doesn't take self damage." It's like, right, but if my Smee quests for 4 lore and then somebody takes him out, or he even banishes himself, I'm okay with that. I don't care if my 2-drop got me 4 lore or 6. That's insane. Chosen character. I like that it's damage on entry, and obviously his health pool is insane. It's terrible against the Ruby decks, though. And the 3 lore is a lot, but he's just so expensive, too. And there's no way to shift him. He's a neat card, at least. Namari. I don't know why this character gets so many cards. I mean, granted, I was not a Raya fan. I thought Raya was such a very forgettable movie. Namari. I didn't like that character either. Is that how you spell it? Namaari. Namaari. She gets 5 cards, and again, she's got an enchanted. Insane. However, this is actually probably her best one. Little cycling, and it continues. And she feeds into her effect, so most likely she'll never be a 0/4. So her one weakness, the Ruby decks, she actually might just evade entirely, because chances are she'll probably be a 3/5 by the time you bring her down. It's neat, at least. I like the cycling effect. I don't know where that goes, but it's neat. I've talked about the Big Mickey before. Oh, I want to build some fun decks with that. Stitch. Like, this is a power corrupt version of the Jafar I just showed. It's the exact same card except gains a lore. I guess if you need Jafar, Desperate Plan is very, very good. It's like Doc, but no body, but you get an extra card out of it. But what's nice too is that even if your hand isn't empty, you can at least use it for something. It probably isn't going to feel as good for that, but as a refill, like, that's going to feel great. Beyond the Horizon. This card. This seems obnoxious. I'm not going to lie. If Steel Song starts running this, I might cry. If they can just make me dump my entire hand. And not unlike Whole New World. Like, imagine getting this after Whole New World. They sing Whole New World. You both fill up to 7, and then they sing this as well, and it's sing together. So like Ariel. So if they have Cinderella, Troubadour, and then Ariel, that's all they need. So turn 4, Ariel sings Whole New World. You both dump your hands. The Cinderella and the Troubadour sing this together. Now you have 3 in hand. They'll just win on the spot. Like, that's pretty dumb. My only hope is that, one, you'd have to see that exact opening. Two, most Steel Song decks are already on like 16, 17 on Inkables, so I'm hoping that keeps this combo from happening because that sounds absolutely miserable. Quick shot, deal 1 damage to chosen character, draw a card. So it's like worse fire the cannons, but at least it replaces itself. Hamster ball. This was JDZ's reveal. I can't believe he bought a big plastic ball for that reveal. It was very funny, sir. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Chosen character with no damage gains resist 2. I mean, we have stuff that just gets resist, right? Now, granted, resist 2 is a lot. Yeah, I mean, in theory, I like the idea of like you play a brand new, fresh character and immediately protect him with the hamster ball, but it's uninkable, costs a lot. Yeah. So overall, I have to admit, I'm pretty underwhelmed by this set. I think there's some neat ideas. I'm hesitant about whether they'll actually pan out. I do want to try the Madrigal singing package. I do want to try. I'll try puppies again, even though I don't think it'll go anywhere. I think Chernadogs will just get stronger, but it was already strong. Racers hopefully gets a little stronger, but I still don't think that's going to be enough to make it like good. And then the illusions. I do want to try the illusions, but like I don't. A lot of the Duel Links are a miss for me. There's a couple good ones. I think Borpal got a few good ones. Red Blue, of course, gets some good ones because, gosh forbid, they just never get to do that. But overall, right now, I'm feeling very underwhelmed by this set, and especially knowing rotations on the horizon. Like, I gotta admit, my Lorcana spirit has been a bit damaged and dampened lately. So, as always, I would love to be wrong about that. Nothing would make me happier than to come back and be like, guys, I was totally wrong. So many of these cards are cracked. It's a really fun, exciting set, but looking at it, it's not feeling good. So I'm going to go get some lunch. I appreciate y'all watching, for anyone watching. And if you're hanging around tonight, you want to see some more Lorcana action, I will be streaming the ICL on Luke Wonderland's channel. I think I'm casting, I want to say the second match, so I'll be casting that. And then I'll probably be back later with a stream doing some Payday 3 with the guys, hunting some trophies if anyone cares about that. So I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you're most excited for. I would love to hear. There are cards like this Minnie Mouse that just seems really, really fun. So, yeah, let me know what you're excited about for Reign of Jafar. If there's that favorite enchanted you're looking to pull, and I appreciate you so much for watching. So, till next time, take care. Always fun streaming with everyone. Bye. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.